Hi folks, Steven here. So over the last week or two, as I'm sure many of you at home have been doing, I've been playing Super Mario Maker, the Nintendo Mario level editor. And one of the things I'm glad to see in there is that they've done some amiibo integration with the mystery mushroom that you can use in the game. And even the Pokemon amiibos are included there. But that got me thinking, Pokemon seems like it gets left out of a lot of Nintendo products for, insertion or cameos or stuff like that. Obviously, the major exception is Smash Brothers. Pokemon has been in every version of that game, which I'm very glad to see. But if you sort of compare this to what Nintendo has done historically with, say, Mario, Mario has been, had bit parts in a number of games for various systems, but Pokemon doesn't get put in there, too often. Now, there may be a couple reasons for this. Part of it is certainly that Pokemon is managed separately from the rest of Nintendo's brands. It has, the Pokemon Company. And, some people have suggested that maybe they're a little overprotective. That, I don't want to see Pokemon in every Nintendo product as like a little insert there. But, I think that there could be a few cases out there that would have benefited from it. And, I'm going to talk about one of those here that I thought was pretty glaring, and I'm not sure why it's not in there. In any case, the example we're using here is the Punch-Out game for Wii that was released back in 2009. So if you're not familiar with the Punch-Out series, it's a boxing game, and the one on Wii is more or less an update of the NES game that came out back in the late 80s. Although it also uses some stuff from like the arcade Punch-Out games and the Super Nintendo Punch-Out game. So there's some other stuff there as well. One of the defining characteristics of Punch-Out is that there's usually a large cast of characters, over a dozen. And in the Wii game, each character has their own intro sequence, mannerisms, and music cues. So it's sort of a complete package there. And the way you progress in the game, you have to fight each of them to sort of win the title. And in each fight, you got to find out, which one, what their weaknesses are, and then you have to figure out how to exploit them to knock them out. So the Pokemon angle on this, in case you haven't figured it out, is where's Hitmonchan? To me, it sounds like a very natural fit, something that should be like an opponent in the game. And one of the reasons I think it would have worked is that in Punch-Out, the characters you fight against generally only have maybe 3 to 5, maybe 6 different things they can do. And that's right around where the Pokemon move limit is. Pokemon normally have a maximum of 4 moves. And I think that would have worked really well to put Hitmonchan as an opponent in the game. In particular, I would have loved to have seen like the elemental punches that it can learn and stuff like that. Furthermore, once you beat the main game in the Wii Punch-Out game, you can go into what's called title defense, where you have to refight a bunch of the fighters there, and they've sort of switched things up, which would be a great opportunity with Hitmonchan, because you could, swap out different moves, give it a held item, all sorts of different stuff like that. But, it's not in there. And there's a couple potential arguments, one way or the other. For example, you may be thinking, well, maybe they wanted to keep the game closer to the core Punch-Out universe. Like, for example, in the NES game, the ref is a cameo for Mario. And, in the Wii game, they sort of replaced it with a more generic character. But there are a few counterexamples to all of this, and the main one is that after you've beaten pretty much everything in the game, you get a chance to fight Donkey Kong as an unlockable opponent. And actually, in an interview, the developers, Next Level Games, one of the people from there said they actually considered putting Princess Peach as sort of a joke opponent in there. So it's kind of puzzling that there isn't more Nintendo representation, including Hitmonchan, in the game. And to be fair, I should point out there are several other boxing-related Nintendo characters they could have used. For example, there's Blayno and Ricky from the Game Boy Zelda games. There's Bruiser, which is this ghost boxer that was introduced in the new Super Mario Bros. Series. And, if you really want to dig deep, they could have used characters from the Virtual Boy Teleroboxer game, which is this robot boxing game that was on the Virtual Boy. So I think between all of that, they really could have very easily made a Nintendo circuit that would be, either part of the main game or some sort of unlockable or something, but they just didn't. And, the game sold reasonably well and was very well regarded, so it's not like it, killed the game or anything like that to not have these things in there, but would have liked to have seen a bit more. But in any case, that's my idea for how Pokemon could have been introduced into the Punch-Out Wii game. And I want to know what you think. Do you think this was a significant omission? Would this have made the game better in your eyes? And beyond that, I want to get some ideas for other things you think should have had Pokemon in them and didn't. Just to get you started, I have a few ideas of my own. For example, there's no Pokemon stuff in Nintendo Land, the Wii U launch game. In Street Pass Mii Plaza on the 3DS, there are no hats you can get for your Mii that are Pokemon related. And speaking of the Wii U, there's no native Pokemon TV app on there. All of those, I think, might be something to talk about. But if you have any ideas of your own or want to see one of those, please let me know. And I may do more of these in the future. All right, folks, thanks.